Welcome back everyone. So this is the Pest Exterminator. Now if you want to get straight into the build, I'll end up having a look at the skills first, showing those off. So if you want to get straight in the build, there'll be a timestamp and go to that one. But anyway, so I can't remember when the update was, but essentially I was going to release this a bit ago, and I will say, seeing there is another update in a couple months, that new bridge, whatever it's called, Burnt Cadia, whatever this thing is. Apparently there's going to be more perk card changes again, so the few other builds I do have sort of in the works, I'm not going to be doing them at the moment until again these perk changes have come through, sort of thing. Because yeah, I don't really because it's like with this, I had a build before the update, before we had all the like bullet storm stuff changes. So this has been changed a few times. So I don't want to be doing builds and then having to rechange them like a few weeks after the update sort of stuff. I may end up redoing some of these builds in the future once we stop getting per card changes and whatnot, but not sure on that one. Anyway, so a few things as well, or a few more things. So the idea around this was supposed to be more so sort of bugs and that, because I did originally have Pain Train on this, so again I have changed this a few times, but Pain Train was going to be on here, and then they changed that, so then I got rid of it. I've swapped out for some other stuff, as I will be getting into in a few minutes. Also, he just recently added on with the poison stuff, kind of, because I've swapped around some of the mods. I actually kind of, funnily enough, forgot Strangleheart does poison damage, and I actually forgot about that before I even chose as the armor, because I kind of thought with the whole bugs and stuff probably going through the jungle, or like a lot of trees and whatnot, you sort of think that's sort of the idea there. And as is, the Pain Train is meant to be literally crushing bugs and whatnot. Also, just before recording this, I did only just think of is I should have and could have done this as an electrical build sort of thing, like a bug zapper type of thing. But if I get enough requests for that, I will do a separate build for that. But as is, any and all builds are going to be not until as is the next update, because I want to do like a Brotherhood of Steel one, Cultist one. There's a few other ones as this. More so for weapons, and as this just for the playstyle and role-playing sort of thing with these builds, because as this, I'm not making meta builds, stuff like that. It's just more for fun type of thing these builds are. Anyway, let's get into the perks and talking about them. So this is the perk loadout. Now, as is, I did change as is some stuff like Blood Mess. Now, I don't have any legendaries. I will actually just talk about legendaries quickly. I probably won't put legendaries on these builds commonly, just for that reason. These aren't supposed to be endgame essentially builds, although again I might do a poll if people want to see like an endgame version of this, because I can do the two different types. Anyway, so with this build we're mainly using fire and poison. So the two ones I do recommend is Funky Duds, obviously for the poison, and what one was it? And Sizzling Style. Both very important for that reason of obviously to protect you from the fire and poison. You're probably going to be hit with fire more so, but as we'll get in that with the playstyle. So as is, I've got 9 strength, 8 perception, 6 endurance, 5 charisma, 15 intelligence, 5 agility, and 8 luck. So as is, it did have Pain Train here, but as is got rid of that one. Unfortunately, that was kind of going to be the big thing with this, was going to be using Pain Train, but oh well. So Bullet Storm, actually for that reason of to get that, well actually hold on, wrong one. Bullet Storm, there we go, for that one. Funnily enough as well, I did not actually realise, because again, being a heavy gun type of thing, I thought this was supposed to be heavy guns. I had no intention of using this perk card sort of thing originally, until I actually had a proper look at these and saying about you get the extra damage per 30 ammo spent. Also, just quick note, I only found this out earlier when I was going around with a shotgun, is like 2 or 3 shots from a shotgun actually gives you bullets, like a few sacks of bullet storm. So I'm guessing there might be say 20 to 30 pellets in each shotgun shell, whatever it is, like, or say 10, you fire a few shots off. I'm guessing if it's like, say 20, we'll say if you need to do the 30 ammo, if you fire, say, if they've got, say, 20 pellets in each shell, you only have to fire like 3 to get a couple stacks of bullet storm or whatever. So yeah, interesting stuff there with shotgun. Anyway, so yes, as this bullet storm for the extra damage, and then bringing the guns for that reason, just to increase your bullet storm. Locked and loaded for that, very important for that reason, to make sure you only get rid of half of your stacks. I kind of feel like this should have been an always thing of how bullet storm should have worked. It's, I don't know on that one. Barbarian, interestingly for this one. For that one, obviously for that one, a bit more for the damage resistance. That, and I will actually say Junk Shield was a toss-up on stuff to try and balance stuff out, to try and work out, because I was going to take some out of intelligence, but I didn't actually end up doing that one. So, as is, you can modify this. You could take a few points out of intelligence, stack them into either the strength, or the luck, or again, you can do your legendary perk cards like that sort of thing to get your extra points. Or again, you can just take food and whatnot. That will also help. Number Cruncher. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I only found out like with the bows recently. For an example here, a rough number, again, that's what I was getting actually. I had the crossbow was without number cruncher was doing like 409 damage. With number cruncher, it's doing 572. Now with this one, it's AP cost, so with the weapon, it's not. Well, we don't get a lot of stuff like that, so we're gonna get like say 91 with it, and without it we get 73. Not a massive damage change, but in one way it is, because that's like, what, about 20 odd points or something. There we go, number cruncher. So I couldn't actually find a way to increase the AP cost of the flamer, so that's actually kind of a shame. But again, always a good one. I think for any build from now on, I'm going to be having number cruncher, because it's just phenomenal. And plus, this ain't going to be a VATS thing anyway, so it doesn't matter. Grenadier for our weapons, and then obviously Exterminator for that reason of any insects. It's kind of a shame this doesn't work. Well, it says any insect. I don't know. I don't think Mylurks can that, because they're technically a different thing together. So hopefully that actually does get changed in the future. Maybe with the new perk card changes. I don't know what they're doing with those yet. All I do know is they're changing some stuff, and I think adding more stuff in. But anyway, yes, as the Exterminator, hopefully we get that for the Mylurk. Would make this build even better. Life Giver for that bit of extra health. Fireproof, and actually for our fire weapons, or the Molotov sort of thing, and Stark Exchange naturally for that reason. Tenderizer, a bit more extra damage. Friendly Fire. Now you don't need this if you're not playing on a team. If you're not playing on a team, I actually don't know what you would take, but let's have a look what we've kind of got here. I mean, you can play on a team but don't have to use it. But if you're not really playing on healing people, I suppose you could chuck on strengthening numbers and I don't know, traveling agent. I suppose, I don't know, they're kind of good ones. Or if you're not really planning on, again, playing in a team in general, take out 3 charisma and probably chuck that into, say, either strength or luck, depending on if you want to get a bit more stuff from Barbarian or from Junk Shield. I think Junk Shield is probably the better option, I'd say. So probably that one, as if you don't want to play on a team. First aid for the healing, field surgeon, same sort of thing for the healing. Nerd Rage is there for a just in case. As this increased AP generation doesn't really matter, but as this increase in damage may help you finish off the fight. Power user for that reason, obviously increase in power core. Stability. Now this one, I'm quite sure it used to do the penetrate, did like the anti-armor type of thing. It would go through the armor. So with big guns now gaining 30% accuracy and double in power armor. I don't know how well that actually, I will admit, I don't know how well that actually works with this build now. Seeing again, this is going to be sort of kind of is a spray and pray type thing. We're not doing VATs. So, again, that's another thing you can probably take out. Demolition Expert, definitely. And Pyrotechnician. Definitely, I will say as well, if I do get enough requests to do a electrical version of this, I probably will. They're probably almost the same, but again, few different things. Action Boy, again, that's only just more so to be running around because we don't have a lot of action points. So if you do have the jetpack, it's more so for stuff like that to be jetpacking out of the way. And actually adrenaline to get those kills. One gun army, like that one, as is with the heavy guns gaining 12% stagger. Great stuff again. Flamers were counted as heavy guns. They should still be counted as heavy guns, I'm quite sure. And the 75% limb damage, really good. Class Freaking, you could swap this out for something else. And Junk Shield for that damage resistance. Not a lot, as is always with these builds, I try to build them around something. As is for that reason, obviously the Pest Exterminator stuff. There's a few things to buff our, well, obviously to increase our fire stuff, but that's obviously the main stuff. That's probably something I will say in each of these videos, is talking about sort of stuff like that, and sort of like I did in the start of the idea around it, and that. It's like with, I will say, the my Brotherhood Steel build I'm working on. That's going to be a human build and with no mutations. So obviously for that reason, Brotherhood Steel don't like ghouls and mutations sort of things. So that's that one. Anyway, now onto the weapons. Almost so weapon. So only weapon. Now you could go with the, oh, what's it called? I've forgotten what it's called. What would it be? Would it be a machine gun? Wait, yes, machine guns. No, it might be a heavy weapon. I can't even remember what it's called. I'm just trying to think now. It's wrong weapon altogether. Heavy guns. Cremator. You could go over Cremator. I did not actually build this around. I mean, that does do a bit more damage. So, yeah, you kind of could. But then, again, personal preference of what you want to use. Although, actually, I might actually go test that one out. Actually, when we go to test out stuff, because again, I haven't tested this Cremator, but I'll make a build for it. Well, I'll build this the same way, but then and that we'll try that when we test it. Anyway, so yes, 4 modifications. Exterminators naturally is the first star. The explosive, I didn't know exactly what to do. I did think about maybe crippling. Let me know, for anyone who uses this, let me know how crippling, if you do want to use crippling, how that works. Nothing else. I mean, you could do hitmans for the increased damage while aiming. Again, that none of the other ones really work. You don't want anything that's, although I suppose rapid wouldn't be bad. That's again another alternative, but then you're going to be decreasing your damage. And again, stuff like those don't, anything that increases your VAT stuff literally does not work. So for the second star, I'd have to say either explosive or hitmans or rapid. Again, dealer's choice, but I'd still say explosive. This one, I didn't know. Out of the two, I'd either say durability if you want to go like that, or I just thought lightweight for that reason of reducing the weight of stuff. Yeah, there's not really a lot. You could honestly actually go with resilient to get that bit extra damage resistance, but yeah, I don't know on that one. And pyromaniacs sort of thing for that extra burn damage sort of thing. Lovely stuff. I was actually trying to find some more stuff with poison, but well, I mean, we've got that one, but it's not a poison weapon. But I'm not sure on these modifications exactly. It's hard to know. I mean, that one, I think all the other ones here do decrease the everything. Well, there we go. So that one, I'm quite sure the flame is still bugged out. Again, I don't use flamers a lot. I found this to still work fine because it's still kind of up close and personal. You could do the vapor nozzle, but yeah, I like it where I've got it. And I will say, normal flamer, for anyone wondering, that's just the skin I've got on it. Anyway, I will go over, probably, actually, I'll test it in 2 places. I'll I'll go test it over at the Myler Queen. And oh wait, nice, right? I've still got the armor to look at. Right, better go look at that one before I forget that. I know if I forget about that, somebody's definitely gonna say that in the comments. So anyway, yes. So with Strangler Power, I did not actually, as this, realize that Strangler actually did poison stuff at first. It was only until I was actually remodifying it, because again, this was going to have Pain Train, and I was like trying to figure out what I could do, and I was like, I could chuck on that one for what we got, the miasma one. But anyway, suppose we'll have a look at the torso, because they're all practically the same. So again, Exterminators for the first star, Fireproof for the second star, mainly because we're going to be throwing Molotovs. So that's kind of, I feel like, the best thing for that. Third star, there's a few you can chuck here. Again, First Hikers is usually just a really good one for that reason of the food, drink, and chem weight reduction. I feel like that's usually a pretty good one. So other alternatives like Toxic, although I think Toxic and Burning, so that's actually, well, that's 19, that's 12. So technically, I'd perhaps say Burning, although that's 3 seconds. Yeah, actually, no, I'd perhaps say Poison, actually, because that's technically a bit better, but then that's only... The only thing you probably don't want Poison for is... so if that's 5% chance, that's like 25% chance to do 12 points of damage over 5 seconds, or per second for 7 seconds, so... you're sort of dealing it like with that. And then Miasma, you could also go for this one, the EGs, what a pronouncement that is, for the extra damage resistance and sort of poison, fire, and cry resistance. Again, you don't have to, but it's probably either that or the Miasma for that reason of, I don't know, none of the other, I was actually thinking of this one. I haven't tested that one though, so that's if I am going to possibly do an electrical version, I'd probably actually chuck on something like that for the EMP sort of thing. I mean, there is another one. I don't know what one it was. But yes, it's either that one for the increase in damage resistance of stuff. Or the whatchamacallit, the Miasma. I still think Miasma works for that reason. It actually works really well for, I've noticed, for the stuff I've been taking on sort of thing. Or you could chuck on, always good is Reflectors, but yeah, I'm going with Miasma for my one. But anyway, that is the armor, and as is, I will meet everyone over at the Milo Queen. Okay, so one other thing I forgot to mention, I'm quite sure, is, where is it? Is it the 8 items, I think it is. Yeah, insect repellent. You can get this from a request, well, you can get the plans for it. You don't obviously have to have this, but it's also a pretty good one for that reason of the reduced reduction from insects. So, cool thing there. Anyway, let's test out the build. Well, kind of show it off more so. I haven't actually properly tested off against these things since the update, so we'll see. So, okay, we'll see. There we go. So that does work. The armor actually doesn't seem to be going, although actually, no, I think the armor is more so the insects. So, and again, this isn't exactly meant to be for Mylurks, it's more intended for the, for everything else. But so, great thing with the Strangleheart power, I'm seeing it does damage for kind of both things. So you're getting essentially fire and poison. And as is, that was essentially the whole idea around, as this sort of pest extermination was essentially using fire and poison. So obviously, well, we can still see here, this does wonderful damage against Milo Queen. Although, how much is that going to do to us? There we go. So, interesting thing I saw was, is it gonna, okay, it's not going to do it this time. But, I think it was when I hit myself, oh, nice, right, I need the cremator. Oh, what the, going a bit higher there. It's the cremator. Interestingly enough, when I hit myself with cremator, it's technically friendly fire. So, that's kind of cool there. So, but again, cremator isn't as good. I'm noticing, like, if you want to keep your distance, definitely, because it does definitely have that burn. Although, see, the fire still hits, but the poison, although that might have to reset first. There we go. So you kind of can get the damage out there, but Personally, I kind of still think the Flamer is better for that reason. It's that constant damage like that. So, and obviously, great thing of that is by the time the first set of poison runs out, good as go. So, yeah, that's actually probably working better than it did before the update. So it can definitely take on Milo Queens. And so this is what I like with the miasma is so essentially, and sort of with the power arm, the actual power armor's effect is it poisons stuff around me. So literally for stuff like this, they're essentially gonna kill themselves on the poison damage. So that's kind of the idea there. And I'll quickly show off over here at West Tech for the super mutants. I think most people probably use this for super mutants and stuff, so we shall see. I mean, and so as is, this is still going to be the option of the Flamer versus the Cremator. Again, I still think the Cremator is probably best for something like this where you want to go for a distance. Now, interestingly enough, I will say is, well, see again, that's not doing too much damage now. I don't know, maybe the Cremator got nerfed. I don't know, but I still kind of like the Flamer kind of thing. For that reason, like that's still plenty of damage. Let's face that one. That's good damage. I'm liking that. I mean, again, the Cremator you could use to heal a bit more. Like if you want to heal yourself, kind of with the fire damage. But as is with this, you're literally still getting poison and fire no matter what. So I'd definitely say is stick to the Cremator. I mean, the Flamer, not the Cremator. For that reason, like the damage from the Flamer is just honestly just way better. As is, you could still possibly chuck on the reflectors. I use reflectors actually my actual character just for that reason of the damage ricochet stuff is just really great. But yeah, so I'd probably have to definitely say. Definitely go with the Flamer for that reason. I mean, you could still die if you don't pop the occasional stim pack, but as is, it's going pretty well. I'm liking that. As is, have not tested it since the update properly. I've tested against a few things and not against the Milo Queen. Naturally, this is again supposed to be around bugs. I will say as well, as I was saying actually earlier in this thinking is, what one is it? I think it's Bullet Storm. Scene for that is for when firing heavy guns. Again, if you want to take out the a few points into something like, as this say, 1 out of intelligence or something, or a couple out of intelligence from the stabilizer, and say a few out of charisma, you could chuck that into endurance and actually chuck on Bullet Storm. Is probably something I've just sort of thought of. But anyways, well, one of the biggest things I kind of think these builds could help with, like, essentially mob-specific enemies is, I've got an idea, because I believe the raid's going to get nerfed. I've got an idea, essentially, about a new raid that they really should add, which will involve, essentially, enemy-specific types and whatnot. I will get around to that video sooner or later, but as is, yes, definitely we definitely need a different type of raid than that. But my idea is essentially going to be like a wave-based sort of thing with different aspects and whatnot than the normal raid. But as is, I'll literally get into that stuff in that video. And as is, again, if everyone would like to see an electrical version of this one, let me know. And as I'll probably end up doing a poll at some time. Again, probably around more so around the update time. For if everyone would like to see a legendary version of this, because as is definitely some more perks I could chuck on stuff like this, but I mean, again, you don't obviously need the Strangleheart power armor, but as is, for what I've got here, as is, that's still the plan, is essentially not endgame stuff. It's stuff that most people can get. Because one of the biggest things I will say, as is, before I do finish off, is nearly every build I see online, most people will say, how can they get this stuff if they only play like a couple times, say 4 or 5 hours on the week, each weekend sort of thing. And that's, again, is my idea with these builds, is essentially something that practically anyone could get reasonably easily. You don't have to, as is, do the raids, do all this end game stuff, although I can't remember how you get Strangleheart power armor, actually. I think that's from the gold bullion now. Yeah, because I think all the Strangleheart power armor was the old raids. I can't even properly remember the old raids, how they worked. Um, Actually, maybe that's why. Maybe that's the way they were. I can't remember. Maybe they were wave based systems. I don't know. Anyway, um, yeah, as this that's the sort of idea of these for that sort of stuff. You can get on for a few hours. It's not going to be grinding for 2 weeks straight to try and get the right gear. It's essentially practically anything can work. Even though I will say I've got 4-star stuff, you don't need it. And that's thing, and you don't obviously need the specifics on stuff. I mean, some things you kind of might, but certain things like this, like the Exterminator stuff, most people probably be giving that stuff away. So that's kind of one thing with that. But anyway, as this, I hope one has enjoyed, and as this definitely as this won't be doing any more sort of builds until the next update. Just for that reason of just pain reorganizing stuff after essentially getting something right in for the build. Anyway, as this, hope one has enjoyed, and I shall see everybody next time.